He said what?
Everything that Meghan is doing in her pursuit to become a lifestyle billionaire goes completely against the agreement that she made with Prince Harry not to exploit their children for commercial gain.
If Meghan and Harry care about those children's welfare, why have they simply not made an announcement to the fact that all of the speculation about the children's arrivals is unfounded, and this is the proof from the doctors?
Okay, you guys, what if everything we thought we knew about Harry and Meghan's parenting was a lie? No, really. What if all those carefully crafted images of them being doting, private parents are actually hiding something far more disturbing, something twisted? Because guess what? Tom Bower and Lady C just dropped bombs, huge ones. Stuff that doesn't just shake up their image, it could change everything about how the public sees the Sussexes and their family. We're talking deception, manipulation, and potentially using their kids as pawns in their power game. Could this be the unraveling of the fairy tale? Sit tight because it's messy, it's dramatic, and it's going to leave your jaw on the floor. Tom Bower pulls no punches.
What I discovered was, of course, that she was hunting for a man in England from 2013 onwards, when her marriage had crashed and she couldn't find anyone in Canada at the time. And she wanted wealth and she wanted fame. And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted Harry.
Now, let's talk Tom Bower. If you know him, you know he doesn't sugarcoat anything. And when it comes to Harry and Meghan's kids, he's going straight for the jugular. According to him, the entire parenting story? Fake. A polished, PR-heavy version designed to make them look like flawless, modern parents. But behind the curtain, chaos, calculated moves, a full-on media strategy. Bower claims they've been using their children not to protect them, but to keep themselves in the spotlight. Yup, the kids aren't just along for the ride, they're the centerpiece. Think about that. Lady C backs him up and adds fuel.
Harry likes to portray Meghan as Diana, but they've got absolutely nothing in common at all. Because Diana, for all her criticism of Charles, was always absolutely loyal to the Queen and completely loyal to the monarchy. She would never put herself above the monarchy, which of course was the downfall of Meghan in Britain, that she wanted to be number one. She didn't want to be part of the team.
And just when you think it couldn't get more intense, enter Lady C. You know she doesn't hold back either. She's backing Bower's claims, but she's adding her own jaw-dropping details. Lady C says Meghan and Harry's whole "we want to protect our children" act is just that, an act. In reality, she alleges they're doing the opposite. These kids are allegedly being pushed into the limelight, not shielded from it. Not the odd photo here and there. We're talking full-on narrative control, media manipulation, and using their children as tools in a fame-fueled game. If that's true, it's honestly terrifying. It's all about the brand, not the babies.
Harry has written extensively, and they have commented extensively on her pregnancies with Archie, as well as the birth of Lily. And remember, Meghan was so hungry as she was going to be pushing out Lily that they had to stop for, was it tacos at Taco Bell or some such, again, BS.
And here's where it gets even more twisted. Every time Meghan shows up holding Archie or walking with Lilibet, boom, headline, front pages, viral photos. Why? Because it's not about the kids, it's about them. Every milestone, every appearance is allegedly part of a master plan to promote brand Sussex. It's not parenting, it's PR. But wait, Bower hints that it might all start crashing down all because of one big mistake, one that might have exposed the entire setup. The chaos that followed? Oh, it was just the beginning. Social media erupts. Once this story dropped, the internet lost it. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok exploded. People weren't just whispering, they were shouting, debating, posting receipts. Even people who once defended Harry and Meghan were suddenly asking, wait, is this true? Some fans stayed loyal, calling it all lies and another tabloid smear. But others, former fans, they weren't so sure anymore. It got people asking real questions. How can you preach privacy while constantly posting about your kids? How can you claim protection but make every family moment a media event? Public turns detective.
Meghan was a geriatric mother, and geriatric mothers are treated with kid gloves. And everything Meghan has said about both those pregnancies and the birth of those children is incredible in the true meaning of the word. Nothing that she says is, in my opinion, believable. Nothing, when you check it with doctors and nurses, nothing is usual or typical or indeed even recognizable.
And here's where it gets wild. Normal, everyday people started digging, deep diving, comparing photo counts of Harry and Meghan's kids versus Will and Kate's kids, and guess what? The difference was staggering. Hashtags like Sussex Scandal and Exposed Meghan started trending. People were literally building timelines of when Meghan and Harry shared family moments, lining them up with times they were in the news for something bad. Coincidence? Some say not a chance. And the emotional fallout? Brutal. People started seeing the couple not as privacy warriors, but as image-obsessed manipulators, and worse, they started questioning if the kids were being used, like props, pawns, PR chess pieces, the palace's creepy silence.
The point about Meghan is, it's easy to dislike her, but the point about her is that in her own terms, she is an astonishing success. She came from nothing, not a very successful actress. She had no money. She had no future after the Suits series in Canada. And suddenly she's an international star with quite a lot of money. And of course, in her terms, that's a great success.
So how did the royal family respond to all this noise? Oh, they didn't. Not a word, not a peep. But that silence, it was loud. Inside palace walls, sources say conversations are happening, intense ones. But the official line, zip, nada. It might be a calculated move, let the fire burn out on its own. After all, Queen Elizabeth was a master of this technique. But in this case, the heat isn't dying down, it's only growing. So now the palace might be forced to choose, stay silent, or step in and speak out about how these kids are really being treated. Is this a game of royal chess?
And also, let's remember that Meghan was hale and hearty at 8 months pregnant, having not gained a pound, having not shown, though, that's Burton head. Is that the photograph where Archie does the deep dive between her legs? Her knees?
Here's the theory making the rounds now. The palace is playing the long game, watching, waiting, letting Harry and Meghan dig their own hole, maybe even preparing a bombshell of their own, a response, a revelation that might finally flip the public's view. Because if what Lady C and Bauer are hinting at is true, the palace might have even darker secrets to reveal about the couple's choices and the toll it's taking on their children. It's a waiting game. But for how long? Kids as PR pawns? That's the accusation.
All Harry and Meghan need to do is prove to us that she popped those babies out. If they don't, it is unfair on the children. It's also unfair on the royal family because it puts the royal family in a very invidious position because the royal family, there are certain things they can and can't do by law, and Meghan and Harry know this.
Let's get into the heart of it. According to Lady C and Bauer, the big scandal here isn't just about publicity, it's about using their own kids as tools to distract, to reframe stories, to manipulate public opinion. Remember when Meghan said she wanted Archie and Lilibet to grow up in peace, away from royal chaos? Yeah. Doesn't seem like that's the case anymore. Every time they're in hot water, boom, out comes a curated family moment, an adorable picture, a cozy interview, a perfectly timed story. And every one of those moments, it seems to serve a purpose. From baby announcements to birthday portraits, it's all suspiciously precise, too perfect, too branded. Meghan's book and the PR strategy behind it.
So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. And a needy man met a woman who could help him with his needs.
Let's not forget The Bench, Meghan's children's book. Remember that soft focus photo of her reading it to Archie? It was everywhere, and it looked sweet until you zoom out. Was it a mother-son bonding moment? Or was it a PR stunt to link her motherhood to her writing career? Critics say this was no random snap. It was a media play, another calculated image to boost her brand. And just like that, every sweet moment becomes suspect. Every adorable photo becomes a question mark. Kids as shields from controversy? And here's the really disturbing part. Lady C and Bauer believe these kids are being used as a shield. Think about it. Every time there's backlash against Meghan or Harry, suddenly we see a family moment, a walk, a photo, a video, something to distract from the drama. Climate hypocrisy? Cue the family picnic picture, Harry's memoir under fire. Let's post Archie smiling on a swing. It's not just about exposure, it's about timing. These moments are being planned, and if that's true, it's more than manipulation, it's exploitation.
The whole thing has been a scandal, not only in terms of Meghan Markle's destructive behavior, but in terms of the remiss and negligent behavior until recently of the mainstream media.
100%. 100%.
Here's the gut punch no one saw coming. What if all of this, the calculated photo ops, the staged moments, the media manipulation, isn't just affecting Meghan and Harry's image, but actually harming their children? Lady C and Tom Bower aren't holding back. They say it straight. Archie and Lilibet are growing up under a microscope. And not because the press is chasing them, but because their own parents are placing them under that light. Every cute birthday photo, every candid park stroll, every teary-eyed moment shared with the world. It's all feeding the media machine. And these poor kids, they don't even have a choice. A childhood in the spotlight or in the crossfire? Child development experts are already sounding the alarm. They say kids who grow up without privacy can face serious emotional trauma. Things like anxiety, identity confusion, even resentment toward their own parents. Imagine being a child only to find out that every personal moment of your life was used as a distraction tool, that your smiling baby pictures were more about saving face than capturing memories. Tom and Lady C claim these kids might grow up and feel used, not loved, not protected, but exposed, as if their whole childhood was just a storyline to protect their parents' brand. And if that's the case, the damage might already be done. When privacy becomes a performance. What's worse is that Meghan and Harry built their entire post-royal identity on protecting their family. That was their narrative. We're stepping back for our children's well-being. We don't want them raised in the media circus. But the circus, according to these accusations, they brought it with them. They built the tent, and now they're selling tickets. This hypocrisy has left people reeling. Even longtime fans are asking, was it all just a lie, a distraction, a carefully polished illusion to cover up a thirst for attention? Can the Sussex brand survive this?
I think she has shown herself to be one of the nastiest pieces of work that it has ever been the public's displeasure to witness.
And of course that's because she's also a great, in that sense, an actress. She knew exactly how to play.
So now comes the million-dollar question. Can Meghan and Harry bounce back from this? Because this scandal is not like the others. It's not about protocol or titles. It's not about feuds or tabloids. It's about children, their children. And the public doesn't play around when it comes to kids. Tom Bower and Lady C argue that this might be the beginning of the end. That the brand Harry and Meghan is now sitting on a very shaky foundation. One more crack and it could all come crashing down. The house of cards is wobbling. Remember when they left the royal family to control their own narrative? Well, it's starting to look like the narrative is spinning out of their hands. They signed multi-million-dollar deals. They gave interviews. They released documentaries. They wrote books, all while promising to protect their kids. But those promises, they're now under scrutiny. And the timing of their kids' appearances in the media is making people question everything. Are these really heartfelt family moments, or are they just PR tactics? Are these children loved and protected, or are they being used to shield their parents from criticism? That question is now at the heart of the controversy, and it's a painful one. The cracks are showing, and people are noticing public opinion is shifting, slowly but clearly. The same people who once cheered Meghan and Harry for escaping the toxic palace culture are now asking hard questions. Because it's not just about what they're doing, it's about why. Every staged photo, every baby update, every sweet clip of Archie giggling or Lilibet playing in the grass, it's now being dissected. People are wondering, was this a real moment or a strategy? And when your audience starts questioning your authenticity, that's when your brand's in serious trouble. Don't count them out just yet. But let's not forget who we're talking about here. Harry and Meghan are survivors, media savvy, powerful, strategic. They've bounced back before, after the Oprah interview, after the documentary drama, after Harry's memoir. So could they do it again? Absolutely. Maybe they launch a new project, maybe they issue a soft emotional apology, maybe they pull back from the public eye just long enough to make people miss them again. They know how to spin a story, and they've got allies in the press who can help them do it. But this time, it's personal.
And the two main feeders of the rumours, according to Lady C's book, Meghan was too big for, well, I suppose her first baby, and also too big for the fact of only having one child, and she seemed to be too big at the wrong time.
The problem is, this time feels different. This time, it's about the children. And the public doesn't forget when it comes to kids. They don't forgive easily either. If people truly believe that Archie and Lilibet are being used, not just shown off, but used, this could be a point of no return. Even if Meghan and Harry manage to rebuild their image, there might always be a shadow of doubt, a whisper of manipulation, a question of trust, and those whispers, they can be louder than any headline. The royals might not stay silent for long, and here's where it gets extra juicy. There's growing speculation that that the royal family might be getting ready to finally speak out, not with a statement, oh no, they're smarter than that, but maybe, just maybe, with a quiet, carefully planted leak. A story from Palace Insiders, a documentary of their own, a move that exposes even more about Meghan and Harry's tactics, especially when it comes to the kids. If you thought the drama was over, oh honey, we're just getting started. Meghan and Harry's image may never be the same again. The next headline? It could be the one that changes everything. And if you want to know what Meghan is really doing behind the scenes right now, trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.